This installment of Distinctives, we're going to be talking about church polity. Now, just to set the context, we're doing these videos over this next little while to help you understand how St. George's is different than the church that maybe you came from. Now, I just used the word polity, and you might be wondering what polity is. Polity is the way that churches are structured, how decisions are made. And this is really important when you come to a church because you're asking questions like, how can I get involved and at what level can I get involved in ways that further the particular God-given mission of this local church? And so to that end, I want to talk about church polity. Now, some of the churches that you may have come from may have been congregational. They may have been Presbyterian in structure. They may have operated under a plurality of elders. But here at St. George's, because we are an Anglican church, we are what's called an Episcopal polity. Okay, Episcopal. And Episcopal polity means that we have a bishop. Our bishop is Dan Gifford. You've seen his family. They worship here when he's not traveling all over. He's the bishop of the Anglican Diocese of Canada. Our bishop licenses and appoints a rector. The rector is me. And the rector is, under our polity, granted a dual purpose. The rector oversees ministries, and the rector is also chair of the board of the Executive Council, which oversees resources. Okay? Now, in order to think about this, you want to think about it like in terms that are biblical and maybe terms from past churches that you've been a part of. In his role as head of the ministries, the rector is living out the role of elder. So we have an elder in our church, it's the rector, and then those ministries he shares with, in our structure, things that are people that are called pastors. They're not things, they're people. Pastor of, for example, worship and media. We have a pastor of family ministries. And we have other examples. I won't take time to unpack them. Beneath these, the pastors then serve at a third tier, various ministry leaders that we will call coordinators. Okay? You can see then how that structure sort of takes place. For example, our family ministries pastor works closely with a new coordinator that we're in the process of hiring, our coordinator of kids ministry. You can see how this all begins to take shape. Resources, that ministry then under the rector, chaired by the rector, is carried out by the Executive Council. The Executive Council is made up of 5 people, the rector, 2 people appointed by the rector, and 2 people elected by the church membership every year. Their task is living out the historical document called the Church Temporalities Act of 1852. And what they do is they are responsible for temporalities, things like money, things like contracts. This is the group in the church that can bind a corporation in contracts. Now, functionally, this aspect of the ministry of the rector, the resourcing, serves this one. So Executive Council is always asking the question, how can we support and resource the ministries of the church? They do things like create and pass policy. Now, this might seem like way too much work and way too much responsibility for any one person. So what we have developed here at St. George's as our church has grown is not just the rector, it's an entity that we have called the office of the rector. The office of the rector includes our director of administration. It also includes our newly posted and about to be hired director of ministry operations. So the question is, how can I get involved? Well, the answer is We have a lot of ministries that need coordinators and people to serve in them. The best way to find out about those is to talk to people at the level of pastor and director, and to pray for all of this organization as we live out God's mission for us together at St. George's.